Hello and welcome to the Perth Blue Baggers pod. My name is Louis, your host.
And I'm Marty on special comments.
So today we will be reviewing our round 8 terrible loss to the Adelaide Crows and previewing our round 9, very much a need a response sort of game against the Saints, I'd call it. So without further ado, let's get into the review. So any sort of things you noticed about the game? It's obviously quite shocking, really.
Well, we went into this game off the back of 3 straight wins. Yeah. So I think there was some optimism amongst the supporter base. And even though 2 of those 3 wins have been pretty poor teams, the most recent one was against Geelong, where we had our best game of the season, really.
Yeah.
And Geelong are a serious contender. But it's funny, because we've got a good record against Geelong. We seem to play well against them. And yet we've got a very bad record against Adelaide.
Yeah.
Especially in Adelaide.
Mm.
And so that was one thing that made me nervous going in. And sadly, we've backed up probably our best performance of our season with our worst. In all of the other losses, we've been competitive. There haven't been big losses. Yeah. We've won at least the first 2 quarters often, faded out a couple of times late, but often won 3 or 4 in the last couple of weeks. This time we didn't win any.
Yeah.
So 5 goals to 2 against us in quarter 1, 3 goals to 1 against us in quarter 2, 5 goals to 2 against us in quarter 3, and 3 goals to 2 against us in quarter 4. It really was an insipid performance.
Yeah.
The whole way through, we never really looked like it at any stage, I don't think.
No.
And, why we would back up with a strong performance against Geelong with that kind of performance, it was just really frustrating.
Yeah.
I think they beat us to the ball. They actually beat us at our strengths, and that was the disturbing things. We're good at winning clearances. We're good at winning contested ball, and they beat us in the clearances, and they beat us in the contested ball.
All of our strengths just evaporated.
That's really disappointing.
Yeah.
Centre clearances, for instance, 16-6. I mean, that's atrocious.
Should be our strong point
against us. 16-6 against us. We lost both the contested and uncontested possessions count.
Contested is a strength of ours.
Like we talked last week about how we dominated with the marks inside 50.
Yeah. This
time they were 20-6 against us. In generally the marks they totally dominated us in the air. 17 contested marks to 9 against us.
Yeah.
It's the exact opposite of last week, where we were dominant. This time they were dominant, but they won in the air and on the ground. We lost the tackles inside 58-6. We won the tackles.
Yeah.
We had guys won 4 or 5 tackles inside 50 themselves last week. This time we had a sum total of 6 tackles inside 50 for the whole game, for the whole team. I mean, the turnaround was extraordinary in all the wrong ways. It was incredibly disappointing. They went inside 50 far more often than us.
Yeah.
Yet they had still managed to have more tackles inside 50 than we did.
Yep.
It's it was disappointing. I think you'd struggle to find a stat that we won on the weekend.
Tackles apparently is what I saw.
Yeah.
But overall tackles, not tackles inside 50. That's because they were
they had a lot of the ball.
Tackle side. Yeah.
They had a lot of the ball. Really, we were chasing a fair bit of the time.
And I didn't think we actually we didn't stick our tackles when.
No, that's absolutely correct. The number of broken tackles was extraordinary. No, it was disappointing in so many ways. I think the loss of Savani down back wasn't great with the calibre of the forwards that they had. I don't think that explains it though. Terra played, he got off, so we weren't really down. We had Cottrell missed, but and Cottrell is underrated.
Out for 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah, but he's not coming back anytime soon. And honestly, as good as Cottrell is, and I really like Cottrell, He's not in our top 5 or 6 players, and it's not really an excuse for an insipid performance. You know, so
It's actually rated like our number 7 best.
oh, there you
according
go.
to Champion Data.
He's not in our
So,
top 5 or 6, but I
he's
think
a great role player.
as much as I like Cottrell, I actually think if you looked at our top 5, we drop off pretty markedly after our top 5.
Yeah, those all Australian.
So we've got some really good
Coleman, and then it kind of drops off.
Yeah. I would put Hewitt in there this time at the moment because he's playing excellent football. But I'd maybe call it top 6 because you've got Hewitt, Walsh, and Cripps, of course, in the middle. You've got
Walsh has been a little
Curnow
off lately.
and Harry up forward and Wittering down back. And then there's a drop. Walsh had a good, I think it was round 4 and 5 he really shined. But yeah, he has dropped a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't think he had the same impact this time.
No.
That he's had.
I didn't even bother to put his stats on because they weren't good enough.
I've got a feeling.
If he did 21 disposals and
He was
not many
two at
clearances, not many score involvements.
Look, on the stats,
Pretty
he
mid.
didn't look too bad, but it also didn't. I still don't think he.
Fantasy
made
makes
impact.
players seem better than they actually play.
That's why I don't just read the
Yeah.
stats. The stats will tell us some things, but when you're watching the game, you'll get a better understanding about who had the biggest impact.
Yeah.
And you won't find a real lot of winners for Colton out there.
No. Well, it's a bit of a segue unless you got anything else to add.
Well, I've talked a bit about the stats, and maybe we'll
Go
go
into the players.
The players. Look, Captain Cripper, I thought he battled hard all day. So not only he had 24 touches, our best for the game was 25, but he had 2 goals when we didn't kick many goals. He was second in tackles with 5.
Yeah.
He led the team in contested positions. He led the team
As
in
he usually
clearances.
does. Yeah.
It was a workmanlike performance for Cripps, but he can still hold his head high. He was pretty gutsy and pretty consistent.
You won't get any Brownlow votes for that because of Adelaide's dominance. They'll get the
No,
3.
look at
Didn't even get any coaches' votes. It was all to Adelaide.
Fair
enough.
Fair enough. When you get
Yeah.
done by 10 goals, that's what you expect.
Yeah.
I thought he was probably the best player for us on the day.
Yeah.
Low benchmark though. Ollie Hollins tried hard all game. I'm giving him the 4.
This is mainly about how hard they've tried.
Oh, this is effort this time.
Effort
Look,
this
I do. When you're getting done, you are looking for the players that work hard,
Yeah.
that try hard, that put the effort in.
Takes you back to like 2018 sort of.
Unfortunately, sometimes it's you're picking the best of a bad bunch. He did have the most tackles on the team. I don't think his stats were really extraordinary.
18 disposals, 6 marks, 6
Yeah.
tackles, 5 intercepts, 3 rebound 50s, 3 inside 50s.
Yeah, look, they're okay.
Yeah.
They're okay.
Not his best he's ever done.
Well, you've got to you look when you get done by 10 goals, you're not finding 4 or 5 guys that dominated, are
No.
you? You're going to find 4 or 5 guys that flew the flag, they had a crack, they
Played
put
for the
effort in.
monogram.
Yeah, the one you're going to pick him on effort, and I thought he worked hard and did his best.
Yeah.
Nick Haynes was pretty good. I thought he's the best defender on the weekend. Led the team in marks. Led the team again in intercept possessions with 8. He generally used the ball pretty wisely. I think his disposal efficiency was 93%.
Like to see that.
It was not the game that he had last week when he was amazing, but he was still a pretty solid performance down back at a time, when there's a lot of pressure on the back line. I think he was, a pretty decent game.
Yeah.
So 3 for Nick Haynes, 2 for Hewitt. Workmanlike, solid again, not spectacular. Most disposals for the team. Led the uncontested possessions, and what that showed is that he ran and he worked hard to get to space and get on the end of passes, etc. Still found time for 4 tackles, which when we're dominating, that's pretty ho hum. But that was one of the higher tackle counts. For us, which sort of shows that we really didn't have a great game. Yeah, so Hewitt gets 2. So Cripps 5, Otley Hollands 4, Nick Haynes 3, Hewitt 2. And look, I found 1 vote for Sard. I thought he was okay off half back. 19 touches, not bad off half back. I think, I'm not sure, again, some of these guys would have been in the votes if we'd been really dominant, but I think he did, plough through the whole game, and I think his effort was pretty good.
Yeah.
Underrated was really hard to find someone that really popped up. Some of the games that we won, you had guys like Matty Carroll that really sort of popped up out of nowhere and showed something. But look, I'm going to pick Lewis Young, not because he had a great game, but he battled in hard in the forward line under extreme pressure. And this is a guy that doesn't get picked every game. In fact, I think he knows he's not going to get picked a lot of weeks. But he's asked to come in and perform a different job every time. So last time I think he came in, he was a sub on the subbing into the forward line.
Yeah.
Now he comes in, he's a backman. Yeah, not an easy thing to do, and he's taking on one of the better forwards. So look, hats off to him for effort and for doing what the club really needs.
Yeah.
And look, he's been handy, and we have needed him at times this season.
He might have conceded a few goals to whoever he was on though.
Yeah, like I said,
Fogarty maybe I think.
Yeah, I think it was
on Tex.
There was a lot of goals conceded.
It must have switched. All I know is that Wheaters was on Phil Thorpe, and he kept them to 1 goal.
Yeah, so I don't think they didn't explode individually. Fogarty got 2.
Dawson was actually the biggest problem.
Yeah. Oh, look, Dawson. I don't know if anyone was on Dawson, but he's probably was he BOG?
He is. It's a midfielder, so I guess he
kicked 3. I think Fogg only got 2.
We don't have taggers really.
We don't tend to do much. In fact, Cripps used to do it. Fogarty, not Cripps. Hewitt.
Yeah.
Who's possibly our best midfielder at the moment, right at this point in time.
I don't want him tagging if it's doing that.
So you've got, Phil Thorpe 1, Taylor Walker 1, and Fogarty 2. So, their big boys didn't get away as much.
No.
But they really they spread the goals very evenly around. Josh Rochelle's a pretty damn handy player.
Yeah.
I think they were just a bit too good.
Mine just varies in a sort of order, I think. Memorising this, I think I did 5 votes for Cripps, so that's probably undisputed. I think I went for Nick Haynes over Hollands. And then Hollands 3 votes, and then 2 votes for Wheaters, because he had 13 disposals, 9 1%ers, 7 intercepts, 4 marks, 9 spoils, 4 rebound 50s, all the usual things he does. And then I did Adam Sard for 1 vote.
So almost the same, except for 2 swapped around.
Yeah.
Hollands and Haynes. Yeah, so Zach 5 got some.
And I
players.
would have probably just given Hewitt the underrated.
But can you give Hewitt the underrated when he's one of our best players this season?
Nah.
See, I'm using the underrated for someone.
Charlie Kerner, I reckon.
Can you give Charlie Kerner underrated when he's one of the top-rated players?
Well, he only kicked 2 goals, but you could see he was making effort going up the ground. He took 10 marks. He's just sort of doing the Harry Mackay sort of role.
Oh, look, I think he did have a pretty good game.
Yeah.
Actually, he was the one guy who sort of shined up forward.
Yeah.
10 marks, by far the most marks for the Blues.
Also had 5 inside 50s.
Like
and 6
after
squad
him,
goal.
the next highest marks was 6. I thought he had a fair old crack at it, and I think you'll find he did a number of goal assists and an inside 50, a few inside
50s. He had 5.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Inside 50s. Yeah, so that's pretty good going for him. Inside 50s. Yeah, so fair call. He was decent.
Adam Chero, well, he seems to have these same sort of games pretty much every week. 20-something disposals, 5 marks, 4 intercepts, 6 score involvements, 4 clearances, 6 inside 50s, and 20 pressure acts. He always cleans up the pressure acts. He always gets high in that. Yeah, and it's pretty... But I don't think Chera quite had the output we would have wanted.
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of Walsh's game too.
Yeah.
It's not that they're playing badly. It's probably just, for starters, their opposition midfielders.
Yeah, this guy overran.
Yeah, overran them.
Which made it
It's a bit hard to be too complimentary midfielders when you get done in the clearances and done in contested and uncontested positions.
Which you could suggest is why there was so much supply going in into the defence. Because they had to scramble so much. Because, going in left, right and centre. Because we were getting beaten in midfield. So it could be a midfield problem that led to that. I don't know.
Oh, I think it was. 16 to 6 centre clearances.
Yeah.
That's your midfield.
Yeah, pro-led.
Clearances is generally your midfield. I know they rotate a few other guys through there, but it's pretty much your midfield.
Yeah, so...
that's one of your best indicators, isn't it? And I think if your midfield's on top, you shouldn't be losing your position counts either. General position counts.
No.
So, on the actual
like
indicators...
60 off. We were 60 off or something for the uncontested, right? Possessions. Disposal was smashed there as well. Like, just normal disposal.
So,
overall.
Well, here you've got contested possessions. We're losing 129 to 112. But uncontested...
Our 25 average is better than 129, and look how much... It's like 30...
So we normally average 142 and we're 30 down, which is a fair bit. We normally average 217 or 192.
And we're number one in contested possessions every week, pretty much. I think that's...
Yeah. So, look, that shows that we've got some work to do after that game.
Hopefully they were just not turned on. There was some sort of... I don't know, the plane trip caused it. I don't know.
Well, some teams don't play well away.
Yeah.
I think you've got to work on that and prove it because every match is important. And after losing the first 4 matches of the season, every match is damn important.
I reckon we can beat the 2 WA teams over here. West Coast easily. Freo, look, I mean, they're not doing too well either. They're below us, I think.
I know. But comparing yourself to the WA teams isn't really... I think we want to do better than that. Well, shall we go on to next week?
Yes.
So, like I said, not as much excitement to talk about with a match like that.
This is filmed on the Wednesday night, so just before the teams, and will likely be posted after the team's been announced, but obviously we don't know that.
If you'd asked me... So we got the Saints coming up, right? And if you'd asked me even a week earlier about this, I would have thought we give ourselves every chance against the Saints. But I tell you what, they've come off a 10-goal win. We've come off a 10-goal loss.
Yeah.
They looked really good against Fremantle, actually. We looked really bad against Adelaide. But
defensively keeping Freo to 33.
Yeah, that was very good. And that's old school Ross Lyon, I think.
Yeah.
The Saints, like Adelaide, play well against us for some reason.
Yeah.
It's always frustrated me. We've lost consistently to them when we shouldn't have. And that includes the last home and away game last year, where it was just like...
Where they had nothing to play for. I don't know why we... I know we have an injury depleted and all whatnot, but... players should know how to not concede a goal within the last minute.
Oh, but it's really frustrating. When they did lose the 3 before Fremantle, and we did win the 3 before we lost. So we've won 3 of our last 4. The other way to look at it is we've won 3 of our last 4, and they've lost 3 of their last 4.
No.
But no, we're right about that last time we played them. That was incredibly frustrating. That should motivate the boys, I would have hoped.
Get some revenge.
They know they're letting themselves down and they need to do better. But we don't play well against them, and it's the frustrating thing. It's just one of those things where some of the players seem to walk a bit taller when they play us.
Yeah. Marshall seems to always do well. Higgins, but I think apparently he's out. I heard rumours that he's out.
Hope so.
So see you later.
Be good if he wasn't playing.
They have had a huge acquisition of Jack McRae, and he's really powering their midfield. So watch out for him. It'll be a head-to-head midfield battle there. We're not going to tag him because we don't have taggers. Chincotta's 1 or 2 weeks away, I think, but he might need some VFL time. And they have Wilkie. He's a defender, I think.
Yeah.
So
They've got plenty
their
of
defense is very good.
They've got plenty of good players.
Let's
face it.
Wagner Miller, he's good. Is he a tagger? He might be a tagger.
Miller, I don't know.
One of them, someone is. I keep forgetting the Saints. I confuse them with other teams for some reason.
They're a nondescript team.
Yeah.
They're quite forgettable. Except for when they play us.
I hope that doesn't get clipped down the wood.
Somehow I don't think we're important enough to matter. But for a player or something, that would be different and we're actually in the club. Look, they seem to play better against us. And there's a couple of guys like Stocker that have gone from...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's been performing well, actually.
Yeah, gone from Colton to St Kilda. And they're trying to steal more of our players. So I think there's been a feeling between Saints and Colton supporters.
Biggest thing going around is that Carlton fans want to see a jumper tugbutt from TDK.
Well, we don't want to lose TDK. No. Look, at the end of his call, he sort of said just during the week that he didn't really want to be making a decision in a hurry. I don't know if that's a good thing, but...
I think it's a good thing. I think to focus on footy rather than that is, performing. We don't want him to turn into like a player like Oscar Allen, who's not quite producing well, but we all know he's going to go next year.
Yeah, I was hoping that he'd sign up and then start playing some great footy.
Well, maybe it's the sort of thing that you talk about in the bye.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know.
Who knows?
We'll
Look,
see. It's a lot to play out.
I can't fault TDK for his form. I mean, he has been fantastic. He's just reinforced why he's such a good player.
Yeah.
And that just makes another club like St Kilda want to throw more money at him.
I think that's why his quotes today were quite sincere. And I think he truly is focusing on footy and with his teammates. The fact that he drew on... I'm not trying to really try and promote that he's going to stay with us, but he did draw on how the leaders of the club have stayed with us. So he was mentioning like Cripps, Walsh, Wheatery and like Mackay and Charlie, maybe not Walsh, but how they've been keen to stay on, sort of form a sort of key group that want to try and win a premiership for us.
Yeah, well...
if he's drawn on that, maybe sort of a little inkling that, I don't know.
He's the thing that a strength of the club in recent times is a lot of players have stayed with us.
Yeah.
We haven't actually had that many players leave that we haven't wanted to leave. So, and Matty Kennedy's playing great footy, but we actually kind of let him go. And good, all power to him, good on him.
Jack Steele.
Yeah, I'm just looking through the Jack Steele playing for them, Mitch Owens.
Don't think Paddow will feature.
I think we'll have the better in the ruck, but Ryan Marshall's pretty good. He's a pretty good.
Yeah. Well, that's... I just don't see why the Saints need him if they got Rowan Marshall as pretty much
he would have been the top 5 ruckmen in the comp, Rowan Marshall.
Yeah.
But then so would TDK.
Yeah.
TDK's right up there. It's arguably number 1.
Gorn's probably the best at the moment. He's producing unreal numbers.
Oh, look, Gorn is a very good player. He would...
And Meek's been good from Hawthorn, Meek.
Yeah, but I'm backing TDK because I'm just one-eyed.
Well, I think he probably beat him in that battle in the first round, I reckon. Second round.
So look, it's going to be a tough one because our form, after 3 good weeks, it was pretty poor last week because they match up well on us, and we don't seem to play very well against them. So we're going to really need to turn things around.
Indeed. Well, let's do fan questions, then we go to predictions. So this one's from Carlton Blues 25, Henry, big supporter obviously, and collaborator. He says, this is a statement, Marty, you're the GOAT.
Well, we enjoy what we do, Henry,
Yeah.
and it's great to be here, and we always enjoy Henry's pod as well.
Yeah. And I'm thrilled to keep doing it with him in the years to come. So we also have another question from a fan, a good supporter of the channel as well, from Only Carlton. If we don't make finals this year, is Voss getting sacked?
Oh, look! I'm generally not I'm not one of those fans that walks around talking about sacking the coach. Sooner or later, any coach will get sacked if they don't meet the performance the club expects. Yeah. That's true of even the best coaches in the game, right? I don't think Voss is coaching badly. I think that where we've let ourselves down has been execution mainly. I think that there's plenty of evidence that the players are still playing for the coach.
Yeah.
They really enjoy being coached by him, and nor is he just a soft touch. I think that he can be hard when he needs to.
I think he's got a good personality that's likeable.
And I think he's got respect. So look, I'm not too critical of Vossy. I understand people's frustration. It's a natural reaction when you're not winning the games you expect to win. So I get that, but look, I think there's plenty of time for Vossy to turn it around.
Yeah, we do hope so. So let's... thank you for the questions, by the way. If you're listening and you would like to send us a question, I guess stay tuned for next week, or maybe drop one in the comments. We could try and answer it through text. Let's get into the predictions. So, margin and...
Look, it's going to be difficult if we were to win. It won't be by much, I suspect, by a few points.
Yeah, it's always a close one.
I think between us, I'd love to turn around the result from last time where we're the one that kicks the late goal to seal it. And so I'm going to pick us by 8 points. It'll be tight all the way, and Charlie will kick the sealer with about a minute to go.
Nice. Got us by 4 points and a TDK jumper tug to give us the clutch goal. How's that one? So I think that'll do us. Thank you for listening in. You'll probably see this come out on Thursday afternoon, but so you don't know what the team ins and outs would be. I reckon Silvani is a good chance. Hopefully he is. Probably know that throughout the day before the teams come out anyway. So thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe on the YouTube and follow us on Instagram. Stay tuned for next week. Up the Baggers.
Calm the Blues.